Man, I don't know about you, but when I listen to that song, I can't help but just make the worst stank face and just headbang. It's so good.
Dude, everything about that track, from like the tones to the vocals to the production to the structure, was just like, it was like, I usually don't listen to a whole lot of sludge, but that was a really good track. Um,
This felt
and
really
I was
Mastodon-y to me personally.
yeah. I was like reading their bio too, and like the story behind the band is like super, just like super interesting. Apparently it was based off a play. Um, they had like made a play about basically their town being exploited by steel mills, and
Hmm.
when like the play came true, I guess like that was sort of the inspiration for like the band.
Yeah,
And it was
because
interesting to hear that.
what I was gonna say, from what I read and from what I recall anyway, I think that like the play was almost like it was like a protest basically
Right.
for the way that they were treating people and all of that.
Yeah, and it's like really interesting to hear, I guess, that come to life through song.
Hmm.
Do you know like how like different, I guess, like sonically their first album is from like from like their second album?
I'll be honest, I
Because
haven't listened to the first album, but I have listened to this one all the way through, and it is kick ass from front to back.
it sounds well, yeah. So like that was like the first track off it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
That
I like
that was
kind of
the
want to go
opener
through and like
there.
listen. Yeah, I feel like invested in like the story now. Like I feel like music is just so much more impactful when like there's a story behind it, right? And like especially because like it seems like that's like their main endeavor is to really like tell the story of like that town. Yeah,
Exactly.
so that's just super interesting.
Well, and I was looking at the lyrics for the song too, and it's so clear. Having I read an interview, and maybe I'll put it down in the description or something if I can find it again. But it was this interview talking about what the second album is about, with the like Google moving in and like using all of the resources and stuff like that. And when you look at the lyrics for this song, this is clearly just establishing what the theme of the record is going to be, but it's so clear in with really not a lot of lyrics, honestly, but it's just so concise what it wants to say and what the rest of the record is going to say. It's super cool.
Totally. Yeah, I'm like I really want to go through so like just like the rest of the record actually, and like sort of, and just like see how I guess that story uh like how like they tell that story. I'm
Hmm.
like a like pretty curious now.
Yeah,
Um
I haven't
yeah,
before now listened to or like really paid attention to the lyrics because they are a little bit difficult to understand. Uh,
totally.
just with the vocal style and potentially like an accent or something like that. But if you like read along with it, you can tell very clearly. Like
Right.
that's sort of the deal
Yeah.
with all of metal, in my opinion. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, you can't tell what they're saying." It's like, okay, but if you listen and like read the lyrics once, then you'll hear it. Like,
Right. And like so much of like I think the impactfulness of songs like that like come from the vocal delivery, right?
hmm.
Which I feel like is like just as important like as the lyrics themselves, right?
Well, because it's
Um
so emotional. Like, it's not
right.
emotional in the way that people think of like an emotional singer, like, Adele or somebody like that. But it's emotional in a
Right.
different way, and it's the angriest shit that you can get, which makes sense for why it is often modern day, like, sort of protest or like activism music. Like you think of like Gojira and all of their environmental lyrics and stuff like that.
Right. But a super dope track. Yeah, I like, really want to go through and just like listen to like the rest of their songs. I
Yeah.
think you like may have mentioned it before, but how did you find this band?
So I found this band. It's actually kind of a roundabout way. I
Oh, totally.
posted something on Instagram, on the podcast account, which follow the podcast Instagram account at Fresh Finds Pod. Uh, Shameless plug.
Of course.
But anyway, so a different band, also from Sweden, followed the account, and so I looked at their stuff. I listened to their music. I did quite like their music, but I haven't chosen to add them to the podcast just yet. But they are on the docket for eventually. But these guys were in the like there's the fans also like section, and I just scrolled through until I found the coolest looking album art that I could find, and I went, all right, this looks like it's gonna sound amazing.
The album art is great. I mean, like for people not, or I guess like they can't yeah, for like people like who like aren't looking at what we're looking at, the album art is really, really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like it fits the song so well too.
It does.
I feel like Spotify's fans also like feature is probably like my favorite part about it, because you can just go down like rabbit holes and just really find like new like smaller bands that way, especially.
Yeah.
It's like really fun. It's just like, yeah, I've spent like hours doing that. Just, I don't know. Yeah.
And we're back. We had a quick technical discussion that we had to do. So what's our next tune gonna be?
Yeah, so we're gonna take another departure.
Okay.
But I always like love that. I feel like when like we do a pod together, it's always like there's a good like mix of music.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we're going a little folkier this time. The song is Wave Pool by Hailaker.